Hello, everyone, and welcome to EUphoria, a Twitch channel that celebrates and shows off the excellence of the European TTRPG scene. I am Michelle. I am very excited to be back, and I'm here with some lovely, lovely players for part 2 of our Blades in the Dark multi-part series. How exciting! So, before we get started, make sure you look below for EUphoria's socials. Give us a follow everywhere. Give us a follow on Twitch while you're here, or if you're a VOD watcher, subscribe on YouTube. What a great idea. Get on with that. And we are going to be playing Blades in the Dark today. Now, this is a game created by John Harper, published by Evil Hat. And I just want to quickly lay out some general content warnings for the game. Blades is set in a loosely dark fantasy, Victorian England kind of vibe. That's the aesthetic of the world, if you like. And so there are themes of poverty, class disparity, there is quite commonly police violence involved, and there's also a lot of occult themes likely to arise when playing Blades in the Dark. More detailed content warnings for this specific session will be in the chat, so check those out if you want to make sure of anything before continuing. Now, with that out of the way, let's meet all of our beautiful cast of players. Everyone, please give us your name, pronouns, a quick visual description for anyone who can't see us, and where you are in the world. I'm going to start with Gask.
Me first! Hello!
Yay.
My name's Gaskinator. I use she, her pronouns. I am a very white person with ginger hair, and if that doesn't clue you off, I am currently residing in Ireland. As for what I'm wearing is a jumper that has Hatsune Miku on it.
Oh,
And as of right now, a cowboy hat.
hell yeah!
Yeah. Which you'll find out is very useful shortly.
Let's move round to Sakaya.
Hello everyone, I am Sakaya. I am a white trans woman. I have a long black veil over long white hair because my character is very, very hidden. I'm based in Aberdeen and I am introducing our characters. I'm playing Kirsten of the Vale, the Whisper.
Amazing. And Cash.
Hi everyone, I'm Cash. I use she, her pronouns. I have light brown skin and I also have a brown shirt on, which is very similar to my skin color, so I look like I'm naked. And
Not that kind of show.
Sorry, okay, then I'll leave. And I will be playing General Arlo in this session of Blades in the Dark.
Gorgeous. And I am Michelle. Hello, my pronouns are she, her. I am a mixed race woman with brown skin, long straight black hair, and I am sat in my recording booth, as usual, too warm. I really need to set up a different place to stream from. That's right. And yes, I will be your GM for today's game. But before we get started, I always love to ask a little question to help us get our minds into the world. And the question I'd love to ask you all today is, what is a song or a piece of music that you think really fits the vibes of your character? So let's go around the same way again. Gask, what's your song for Bootleg?
Okay, so hear me out.
Okay.
We were having fun and we made some character playlists that you can check out on Patreon. Let's go. And yeah, you're gonna want to pay up for Patreon to take a gander at this playlist, because I'm willing to defend each and every song choice that I've made on it. And the first one, most importantly, is Leaving Lonesome Flats from Trolls 2 World Tour. And I guarantee you gotta listen to it. It's bootleg, baby. That's Cowboy. He's on the run. He's having a good time. He's rootin', tootin', shootin', and I will defend it to the death.
In a million years, I could not have guessed that was where we were going, but I love it. I love it. Sakaya, what song are you going to share with us?
Thank you very much. We all made playlists. I can't beat that one, I'm afraid. Well done, Gask. But I think I'm going for something a little bit dark and edgy for Kirsten from my playlist, and it's Witching Hour by In This Moment.
Ooh, I don't think I've heard that song. Right, that's
Dark
going
and
on my
metally.
lookup. Amazing.
Excuse me, Trolls 2 World Tour can be a little dark and edgy at times, okay? The other country track on that album was Kelly Clarkson's Born to Die, and I did not choose that one, in fact.
really running the gamut of vibes that this particular game can bring to Blades in the Dark. We love it so far. Cash, what are you going to throw in the mix for your song?
Well, when I think of General Arlo, I think the music that plays in my head is the soundtrack of L.A. Noire. But I think when General Arlo thinks of himself or of his life, I think the soundtrack that he'll hear is just like a repetition of Ma Baker by Bonnie M, because he's so obsessed with his mother. So you decide.
That's
It's a healthy
amazing.
relationship.
It is a very healthy relationship.
It's extremely healthy, and I'm not worried about either of you. No, that's fantastic. I love that sneaky way of getting two answers in. We have to make playlist. Who do we see our characters as, and how do they see themselves? I love that duality. So yes, as Gask so rightly mentioned, if you want to hear what other incredible choices have been made for these character playlists, do check out the EUphoria Patreon. We'll be putting some of those playlists and other exciting behind-the-scenes stuff, whatever we generate in this little world in our magical Discord where we chat about things, will be on that Patreon. I've chosen a song, or a piece of music rather, that I think will hopefully fit the vibes of the session we're going to have tonight, which is a little bit different. It is Vivaldi's Four Seasons is a series of 4 violin concertos, which, as the name suggests, each sort of represent a season. And Concerto 2 in G minor, which represents summer, is this really beautiful, elegant, warm, lovely piece, but it has this danger underneath the surface, which gradually comes out in the third movement of like a summer storm forming. And I think that is hopefully going to really exemplify our session tonight as we visit the district of Brightstone. So,
Can I ask what Trolls movie that song's from?
you know, it's actually a very famous piece of music, and I bet you it probably is in like a similar movie. Even if the name means nothing to you, you'll have heard it. You'll definitely heard
I don't
it.
know
Give
if
it a
Anna
listen.
Kendrick isn't in the movie voicing the main character. There's just nothing I can do about it.
All right, chat, you have your mission. Find an Anna Kendrick children's movie which uses Vivaldi violin concertos in its soundtrack, and I will personally post you a prize that I have found. I don't know what it's going to be, but I will make that happen if you can make that happen, because that sounds brilliant.
And just a heads up, our producer is having a head start right now from hearing us right now. So in this pre-recorded session, so like get on it as quick as possible.
You've got to get Googling, chat, but keep us open another tab, all right? Don't go anywhere. So with that incredibly sensible challenge laid out before us, let's start playing Blades in the Dark.
EUphoria presents a Blades in the Dark actual play. Starring Michelle as the GM, Cash plays General, Sakaya plays Harpy, and Gask plays Bootleg. The Ballad of the Silver Spectres.
So, it has been a few days since our crew, the Silver Spectres, helped out some of the lowly workers of the district of Coalridge with their strike situation. At the request of Belle Brogan, a union organizer, the 3 of you broke into the shut down ironworks factory overnight to try and find out how exactly they were still manufacturing parts for the Leviathan hunting ships when the entire staff were on strike. And you discovered, much to your horror, that someone, somehow, has turned all the machinery into hulls, a forbidden form of occult magic in which human ghosts, their spirits, are bound into machinery and forced to operate the machinery in perpetuity. You did a little bit of sabotage of some of the parts that were being manufactured, but you weren't able to stay for long because an old friend, of bootlegs from a rival gang, the Billhooks, was around doing security. And while you did a good job through some very threatening behavior on General Arlo's account to clear them out the way temporarily, you knew you didn't have long. So you made a run for it. Reported back to Bell, who has let you know through notes that the workers plan to continue sneaking in now they know what they're looking for, and seeing what else they can do to try and sabotage that side of things. But for now, you all have had a few days to rest up, relax, and do your own thing at your lair. Now, your lair is in the Six Towers district of Duskfall. This is a part of the city that was once the seat of wealth and glory. Beautiful palatial estates and fancy townhouses, and it was all so lovely. But over time, the most powerful and rich families started to move out to an area called Brightstone, where there was more room to build even huger, grander estates as the wealth continued to be collected and concentrated amongst the fewest families at the top of the pyramid. So too did they move up to the top, the northern part of the city, to get even further away from the riffraff, and Six Towers was left to fall into ruin. And you all chose one of these ruined townhouses to make your lair. And that, I think, is where we're going to find you all. But of course, it's your lair, so I think you all should help us paint the picture of what it looks like on the inside. I would love for each of you to give me a detail of what we find inside this lair, something your characters brought into it, or just something that was here the whole time that you've decided, that's great, we're keeping it. Let's start with Sakaya. What will we see when we enter the crew's lair?
So I think the building is in great disrepair. More dusty than damp, cobwebs, a film of grime over everything. We're still sort of trying to make use of it rather than having time to tidy it and clean it. Kirsten, I think, spends a lot of her time in what was once the library, which is perhaps full of broken down shelves, mouldering old books, but she's turned it into a sort of a witch's den. So lots of the shelves that once had books on them have got jars of strange concoctions. There's herbs drying. It's a very unusual looking library, and she spends a lot of time in there with the door locked, sometimes muttering to herself. Question mark.
Interesting. All right, we've gone very dark academia with Kirsten of the Vale. We love to see it. What has Kirsten's son, General Arlo, brought to the lair in terms of decoration?
I think that General Arlo, having come from nobility with his mother, does have the, let's say, the drive to always feel like he still has some of this luxury that he was used to. And part of that, or one way to do that, is by getting the finest foods and freshest fruit that he can find in all of Duskfall. And he always takes care to put everything very neatly on the table, like have one of these glass, like, I don't know what you call these, like this huge glass wares that you can put fruit in different assortments. And I think this is something that is very visibly displayed on the dining table, or in our dining hall, if you want to call it.
Oh, that's amazing. Fresh fruit is definitely something that's very difficult to come by in Duskfall. There being no sunlight, fruit has to be artificially grown under electroplasmic grow lamps, so it would definitely be a sign of wealth and luxury to always have fruit sitting on your table. Love that. And what about Bootleg? What does Bootleg bring to the lair?
I think Bootleg is on... Well, it's not ye old. We're not too far back, but whatever version of Duskfall Craigslist is looking for furniture, probably just going to the other ruined houses and like pushing it outside and being like, "Hey Arlo, I bought this. Will you help me bring it back to the base?" And then like just bringing in furniture from all these different places, like that looks luxurious, but is kind of in a more state of disrepair, and also paintings of a family that is definitely not us. I was just left behind. Just a portrait, and it's like, well, it's a good mantelpiece. Ties the whole place together.
All right, project. For the benefit of our lovely audience, Kirsten of the Vale during downtime, off stream, in between this last week's session and this session, started a long-term project to renovate and do up the lair. And I think it is imperative that if you complete that project, part of it will be painting over that painting to make it the three of you in the painting instead of whatever family it was.
Oh, we're holding hands.
I think Arlo will already have started taking one of these people on the painting and putting like a type of fedora hat on one of them, and then remember that the type of hat he's actually trying to create is a cowboy hat, so he'll widen it out a little bit, but it doesn't look great.
It doesn't even look like that.
The tragic hat mistaken identity continues. Yes,
I'm taller than that, right? If you bit of height to it. You can just stretch it out, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I love it. I love this beautiful family portrait, and also Bootleg is there.
The weird, not even cousin.
And I think Bootleg, you're out on one of your furniture salvaging excursions when you'll pass by your mailbox. I imagine because your lair is hidden, your crew type has the tag of hidden lair. I imagine you maybe have a mailbox somewhere else in the district on a different street that you'll check up on to see if you have any notes from people.
Yeah, and it's got like some kind of weird symbol on it to like...
Yes, 100%. A fedora.
It's a cowboy hat! Arlo, you said it was a cowboy hat!
I mean, it does kind of look like a cowboy hat, but I'm not an expert on hats.
Damn it.
That's you. You are the expert on hats.
Yeah, I'm not the expert on painting, though.
A Bootleg, I think you find in this post box, you find a note with sort of spidery, elaborate handwriting that you can make out reads, Kirsten of the Vale. Do you bring this message back to the lair?
Yeah, I may be a lot of things, but I'm not a, male reading sumbitch.
Did you find any furniture on this excursion before you checked the notebook, the post box, or have you just got the letter to bring back?
I think I found a nice candelabra. All the candles in it gone, melted down, but the metal of it's still there,
So you come home, candelabra in one hand, letter in the other. And Kirsten, if you get this note from Bootleg, you recognize this handwriting. You have a friend who is something of a witch herself, or themselves. Can you tell us a bit about this friend?
Rani. Yes, I think perhaps Rani is more she is a witch, but I think it's mainly that she deals in witchery. So she has like a small, perhaps like a little subterranean like cellar that she sort of deals out of. And she's more in the business of kind of having people go out and finding the right things and bringing them back to her. She is a practitioner, but I think it's more about procurement and selling with her.
Ah, interesting. So she maybe deals in magical artifacts.
Mm-hmm.
She probably has a place in the night market area of town then. Yeah, a little basement dwelling where you can go in if you know where to look, and buy yourself something exciting. So if you open up this letter from Rani, you will see a newspaper clipping. It's a clipping from the society pages of the Duskfall Daily, announcing that Lord and Lady Strangford are to hold an exquisite masquerade ball this weekend for invited guests only, of course, at their beautiful estate in Brightstone, where for the first time, Lord Strangford will be displaying his collection of obscure artifacts recovered from the depths of the void sea by his own Leviathan hunting crews. And clipped to this newspaper cutout is a little note from Rani saying, "I would pay top shelf, top dollar for some kind of nautical artifact." And then maybe some little kisses. Kiss, kiss. Rani.
I think Kirsten looks over Rani's note, sort of folds it with one hand and discreetly puts it away into her gown and spins the newspaper clipping and slides it across the table to Bootleg and Arlo. Well, well, well. It seems that our friend Lord Strangford has a little soiree, and I'll kind of let them look at that first before giving them the extra bit of news.
I think this definitely does happen at the table because Bootleg refuses to go into your library and will call you out, like outside of it,
Absolutely.
to give you the letter instead of going in. Gives me the willies.
I think Arlo will kind of glance over the letter and say, "Ooh, interesting. But Mama, we're not invited. I don't know if we can go there."
Invited's just a word, you know? You just show up, you act like you're supposed to be there, and then Bob's your uncle, you're allowed in.
Now that's the attitude, Bootleg.
Exactly.
I don't understand. I don't have an uncle named Bob.
This is one of those few moments. Kirsten loves her son dearly, but this is one of those moments where she's very happy to be behind a veil. My dear, we are going to fabricate some way of entering that ball, or that masquerade. I have a friend who will pay a lot of money if we can acquire one of Strangford's nautical artifacts.
Oh, I understand. It's that kind of party, all right. Then, of course, we should definitely go. I mean, get some new money to make this home even more luxurious. I'd like that.
Yeah, I've heard that they're selling some furniture over there, too.
Yes, Bootleg, how is it that you always seem to get the furniture halfway home from the shops, but then need Arlo's help to do the rest?
Oh, it's delivery fee. I just don't want to pay out of our gang's pocket for the delivery fee when we have a strapping young general here that can do it for us.
I see.
Yes, exactly.
Well, if this goes to plan, then we'll have enough money for as many delivery fees as you like.
Exactly. Now, we don't look exactly ready for a high society kind of ordeal. So unless you're hiding a fancier veil underneath the veil you're currently wearing, I think we're gonna need to get some new get-ups.
Are you trying to insult my mother?
No. No, I don't have a death wish. I'm not doing anything like that.
You better not be.
I'm just saying in front of all the fancy people.
All right. Okay, that's fair. Yes. Then maybe we should get some nicer clothing and look strapping.
Kirsten's letting this conversation play out because it does pose a problem for her. She does not want to reveal her face at this gathering. If it is some kind of masquerade, then maybe she will acquire a mask.
Yes, maybe so. Well then, shopping montage?
I would love to do a shopping montage, and I think what Arlo would like to buy is a bunch of paper mache, so he can fabricate the masks by himself.
Buddy.
He would like to do matching ones for his mother and himself.
Yes.
Love.
Yes. Please tell me what the paper mache masks look like. Like what's the vision?
So I think for his mother, he would do some type of rendition of a regal-looking bird. So something like, how do you call? Are they? Oh my God! So bird names in English, I don't know. Is a mockingbird something that looks regal? I have no idea. It's the only bird that I know in English.
It looks feathery and fancy.
Anyhow,
I have to look up what a mockingbird looks like because I don't think they live in the UK. I don't know.
the only other one that I
Pretty.
know is a shoebill, and that one is not pretty.
Although I
mean?
was
I got
thinking
your
something like
mask.
storks and cranes and egrets. They can look kind
Yeah.
of regal.
Yes,
Maybe
an
not the
egret's a
shoebill.
beautiful bird.
Something
Mama, I
regal
got you a
looking.
mask. It's based on the famous regal bird, the blue-footed booby. Just for you, Mama.
I
And
went
then-
bird watching the other week because I'm a very interesting person and did see a bird called a
Hey.
spoonbill, who I love. Is like a big goose and his beak goes long and it has a big spoon on the end. That's a great bird.
Anyhow.
Fantastic.
And for himself, he would just do something that looks kind of like a chick. And then Bootleg will just get an egg.
An egg.
Yeah, oh, Arlo, I'm so sorry it got lost in the transit.
What do you mean it got lost? It took me ages to make that.
Don't
I had to get the
worry,
shape all right. It took forever.
Don't worry, we'll find it, but it just might not be here in time for the big party.
All right, I guess I'll have to make a new one.
No, don't put yourself through that trouble. Get the rest of you sorted out. There's more than just a mask, and I'll sort myself out. You don't need to worry about old bootleg here.
Okay, before you carry on, I have to ask. I need to ask you to roll me. I'll say finesse or tinker. I'll be generous to see how well these masks come out.
Oh no.
Oh, they're gonna come out very well because
Oh,
I
wait, you have
two
great
two
tinker.
dots and
Yeah,
tinker.
I thought you might. Yeah.
Oh.
Wow, I rolled
Oh.
2 ones.
No!
I think the egg was the one that looked the best.
Oh, babes, these masks look extremely homemade.
You didn't even paint them. They're just
It's just
the
just
paper.
cardboard.
They're still like wet paper that's like slopping off.
This is beautiful, Arlo dear. I'm very, very proud of you. And she puts it on and then just pulls the veil down over the top.
Thank you, Mother. I'm so glad that you're always there to believe in me. I mean, I feel like Bootleg lost his on purpose, and I don't understand. It was so beautiful.
We've had this conversation before. I think we have to give Bootleg the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I should man up and just maybe I shouldn't have wasted so much time on it. Anyhow, I mean, he looks great with the cowboy hat and everything. Maybe he can just get a scarf or something.
Bootleg, what do you go for? My brain is giving me Orville Peck.
I was just about to say, yeah, absolutely. Just the lace and everything.
Amazing.
For sure, with the hat still on. Like very clear he still is.
Yeah.
Not covering up anything. I think he tries to find something for Arlo because he's like, okay, Kirsten can cover it up. Arlo can't, and I can't be seen with him. He looks like this. So I'm gonna try and find essentially his idea of a bird or something, but better.
Alright.
And then just be like, oh, Arlo, look, I'm so sorry, but I sat on your mask and it kind of snapped in half, but to make it up for you, got you this one.
What does it look like?
I think it looks like one of those half masks that's like very dainty and then it has like a long nose beak.
So you want to say it definitely looks better than the mask that I made?
Yeah, I got actual feathers on it and
I
stuff.
think Arlo will look at it and kind of go, thank you. And then he'll put it on and acknowledge that it does look much
Apologies
better than what he did.
Okay, amazing. I want to revisit. I'm going to give you time to think about the full look, the head to toe vision. And we'll revisit that when it's time to arrive. But for now, we have our gathering information part of the session where you're going to either find out some info or do some prep work with a role to help you to get into this party. So, who all wants to go first? Who has an idea for what they'd like to do to help get them into this event where they shouldn't really be?
I have a vague idea of like asking around to, maybe I'll go to the city hall, but what I need to know specifically is like where they're keeping these artifacts, where they're going to be showing them, and like the security of it, I guess. So maybe I'm looking for like wherever the guards hang out after work for this place, and then like, oh, you got a big job coming up? Tell me about it.
Okay, there is a bar. It is not in Brightstone itself, but it's just across the canal, in Charter Hall, and I think you just hear around the grapevine that a lot of the staff that work in the nice estates in Brightstone go to drink there after a hard shift. So you make your way down there, bootleg, to drink amongst all of the help. And yeah, why don't you roll me... Well, what do you want to roll for it? I think it might be a consort that you're going for?
Consort sounds right for this, because I don't think I'm swaying too much. I'm just trying to get personable and being like, so, any hot gossip? And like, all they do is work, so... that is... Oh, I thought that was a 4, but no, it's a 3.
Oh, okay. You get limited information. So what kind of thing were you trying to find out?
Basically what the security is like, or is going to be like for this event.
Okay. So I think you get talking to a woman who tells you like, oh, there is no gossip. There is just work. It has been so much. So since the Lord and the Lady of the house have this big party that he's going to show off all of his weird things from the sea, they have been getting in so much extra security. There's just it's like everyone is working round the clock to get everything set up to make sure only those with a formal invitation can get inside the door. Because I don't know, apparently like all the stuff is just going to be out in one of the rooms, and he doesn't want anyone damaging it. I don't know. It's
sounds like a Todd Lordy top to me.
Oh god, it's just so much. And like he also like there's something in the basement that he's like he wants like a bunch of security on the basement, and I'm like, are you serious? You're having this fancy party and you want me to be posted in the basement?
Who's even gonna go down there?
Who's even gonna go down there?
Exactly.
And I don't get to have any of the food if I'm down there. It's just
yeah, ain't no appetizers, butlers coming down that way, no.
Yeah, it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck.
Just make sure you got deep pockets and fill up beforehand.
Oh my god, that's actually a pretty good shout. But yeah, no, he's been like on at me to being like, we need more people, we need more people, we need more staff. Like, it's a nightmare. So yeah, it's not ideal.
Well, if I was at that party, I'd come looking for you. I'd give you some snacks.
Alright, like if you'd be that, that's cute. Thanks. Anyway, I don't want to talk about work anymore. I want to drink. And
yeah,
she's gonna
sounds like it.
She's just gonna slam a shot and just she's just alternating. There's too many.
That was my okay, yeah. Drink up.
So yeah, I think you don't get much. There's gonna be a lot of security. They reckon the only way to get in is to get an invitation. There's something in another part of the house that they're also keeping secure, and they're hiring a lot of people. That's all you're able to get, I'm afraid. What about the other two of you? Is there anything you'd like to try and do?
I think, so what I picture is that while we prepare, Arlo kind of hangs out with his mother in the library, or in her library, and at some point I think he'll mention to her, Mama, I found in one of your shelves this nice, very old-looking book called Potions and Poisons. And I had a thought. I was thinking, what if we kind of manage to make everyone at the party sleep so that we could just walk around and see if we can find these artifacts for your friend? Do you think there is a potion or something like this that we could put into the food and make everyone fall asleep?
Kirsten sort of leans back in mild surprise. That is not a bad idea, my dear
It's
Arlo.
not. I mean, of course it's not. It came from a general.
I have been thinking myself about our entrance, and perhaps we should not all look to go as guests. Perhaps we could see about getting you on the security, for example.
Ooh, yes, I like that idea. Or maybe I could also pose as a cook. You know, I've always liked cooking. But yeah, maybe I'm better suited for security. And he kind of just looks at his biceps and then nods to himself.
I imagine he does that every morning as well.
Yeah, he just kind of eyes them and does a little
Daily affirmations.
Well, Bootleg
Incredible.
is certainly the most personable of us, so I think a guest at the party would do him well. I like your idea. We can look into this. Michelle, I'm thinking, well, Kirsten doesn't really have like sway or consort, but I was wondering if, I suppose it depends on who makes up the housing staff, but whether I could use command to sort of find someone I can lean against a little bit and see if I can press Arlo into service as part of the security team.
So you want to try and get Arlo hired. Let me see. Well, so we've established from Bootleg's role that they are looking for more staff, and that one of the upper security staff is like stressed trying to find enough people. So I don't think this would be too difficult a role, actually. So do you want to use your move to get Arlo on, or Arlo, do you want to try and get yourself hired? I guess is the question.
I think it would be best if my mother spoke for me.
Okay.
It's like when you get your mother to make your doctor's appointments for you.
Yeah,
It's
this
like, I
is
don't like
how-
talking on the phone.
This is how Arlo has got most of his jobs.
Yes. That's how he ended up general in the military. It's not because of this.
Amazing. I'm trying to think. I'm not sure I can. If you can find me a narrative way that command could work, I will absolutely let you roll it. I'm not sure if I can think of a way that it would necessarily be command.
I think, yeah, this is what was concerning me slightly. I think it would depend slightly on the makeup of the staff, because if there was someone there that I had a little bit of leverage with,
Ooh.
then I could. So I'm thinking, obviously, if there's Scotland members of staff, which is probably maybe unlikely, that would help. But otherwise, if there's I don't know, I suppose it's leaning into, I'm not necessarily saying like blackmail or bribery, but
You're not. No.
but I'm not.
What might you have on somebody that you would want to blackmail them with to try and get Arlo this job?
Maybe, well, we know that Strangford was involved in these illegal, well, potentially involved in these illegal whole things, and maybe there's a connection with someone on his staff that may know, and I could sort of say, look, you know, if you don't want me to mention that you are aware of what's going on in the factory, perhaps
That's interesting. Well, we know that Master Slane is the head chief foreman of the factory. We know that, well, we can assume that he was responsible for hiring the very ineffective Bill Hooks, and that there were rumors around him having cult involvement. So there's quite a lot of stuff you might know about Master Slane, who presumably works for Strangford if it's his factory.
Yeah.
So maybe you could pay him a visit?
Okay. That sounds scary, but yes.
So yeah, I think maybe you he never saw you all. He wasn't there when you infiltrated the factory. So I think potentially you could go and find him on a day in the daytime when he should be at the factory and have a chat. What do you think you say to him after you've arrived and asked to speak with him?
This is Master Slane himself I'm speaking to.
Yeah, I think so.
I think I'm quite a recognizable person, but probably not to someone like Master Slane.
I don't think he'd know who you were necessarily, no. You don't live in his district.
I think I would say that it's come to my attention that your factory maybe got a little bit more attention than it should have for not all the right reasons. And I believe, with your involvement with Lord Strangford and the need for security, if you could do me a good turn and place my son on the security detail, then I can help it to ensure that some of these rumours go away.
Lady, I don't know you from Adam. Why would I believe that you could make any rumours go away?
Well, you don't. But if I was to tell you that I'm well aware of how the machinery is operated within your factory, then I could make those rumours worse.
Give me a command roll.
That's a 6.
Ah, okay. A 6. He'll say, I have no idea what you're talking about. But lucky for you, the Lord is looking for some security, and the security team that I was using have turned out to be worse than useless. So, we have some openings. Is he strong?
Very.
Can he string two thoughts together?
It's mild pause. Yes.
Fine. Send them up to the house at 3 p.m. on the day of the party.
Much obliged.
He'll describe the chief of security that Arlo is to meet. And he'll say, as you're heading out, he'll say, is there any particular reason you happen to know what's going on in my factories?
I have a strong connection to the spirit world. Let's put it that way.
And I think with that, he will let you leave. Okay, amazing. A good time for a 6. So, yeah, with a 6, I think Arlo's going to be accepted onto the security team without question. Arlo, you have your in to the party. Now, Bootleg and Kirsten still do not have an invitation or any way in. So, what do we think? What else would we like to do? Actually, Arlo, you haven't made a move yet, so is there anything you would like to do next?
Yes, I think with this in the hours before the party, he would like to sneakily kind of scout the premise and figure out ways where he can create an inn for Bootleg and his mother, like a window that can be left open by a very fast movement of the hand without anyone noticing, or a back door, or even like a cellar window or something like this.
Amazing. I think that sounds like a survey.
Mm-hmm.
So let's roll me a survey, please.
All right, so I have no dots in this, so I will roll with disadvantage.
2 6s, let's go.
Uh-huh. Yes, of course.
So you're going to roll 2 d6s and take the lowest result.
Uh-huh, that's a 1.
Oh,
No.
limited. Okay. So you're getting limited information towards this. So I think when you arrive, you are told, you walk up towards the front of the house, but you've been told to go around the side to the serviceman's entrance. So when you do, you kind of find that there's high gates which have that slight bluish sheen around them, which indicates electroplasmic energy through the gates, and you don't want to touch that. No touchy, that will hurt. But you make your way around to the side of the building, and there is a small unassuming looking gate which almost blends in with the fence, which is opened for you and leads you up to a side entrance into the house. So you know that there is this side entrance, you know where it is now, but as you only got a 1, you don't necessarily have any way of knowing it's not going to be guarded. So while this is an entrance which could be used for somebody with no invitation, it wouldn't be as easy as just walking in, because you've got a 1, you'd still need to potentially make some kind of distraction or somehow make it available for use.
All right. Would I be the one that first heads to this part, or like, I guess I'm already there, yeah, because I already arrived. Maybe while I'm there, I'll try to create a slight distraction, possibly by knocking something over. Maybe like knocking into a server or something, like someone that is carrying a bunch of glasses around or something like this, just to create a loud noise where I can walk off unseen.
Amazing. So you're maybe thinking of like a stealth score where you're going to sneak the other 2 in by causing a distraction. Okay, sounds like we have a loose idea. Is there anything else any of you want to do in terms of information gathering before you head over to this party?
Yeah, well, I think I'm kind of interested in Arlo's idea, and maybe actually because this is a job that Rani has set up for us, actually paying her a visit.
Okay. To get some poisons.
And seeing if I can, or even just some, some sleeping drugs, whatever. But my only concern is how funds work, because as you remember, last session, I returned...
You did! You have no coin left. Okay. So what I have here is I have the page of kind of alchemical creations. If there was a leech in the party, they could create these, but as you don't have one, you would have to purchase them, as you are doing. Rani is your friend, so it's possible if it's to help, she might give you something. But what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
Well, just that really, that as it is her score, to go to maybe ask whether we could have this to aid us, and she can take the cost of it from, our reward in the end.
All right. Okay. Let's see what we have here. We have a drug called Black Lotus. A tar-like resin made from the leaves of a plant induces a coma-like stupor and visions. We have Dream Smoke, a milder form of Black Lotus, which induces pleasant intoxication. And I believe Bootleg already has access to Trance Powder, which, when inhaled, induces a pleasant hypnotic trance. So I think probably the closest thing to what you were describing might be Black Lotus or Dream Smoke, one of those two. Something that would make people get very sleepy.
I think.
How does that sound?
Yeah, I think the Black Lotus is more Kirsten's bag.
Okay, so I think Rani will give you a small supply of Black Lotus, sort of as you have said, you're using it towards her aims. She will warn you that it does cause harm to people using it, so it won't be a perfectly what am I trying to say? It won't leave absolutely no trace that they were poisoned, because people will be hurt by consuming this. And if you accidentally get any on you or consume any of it, you yourself will be hurt as well. So those are the warnings that she gives you when she tells you to be very careful with this. But yes,
indeed, as always. I think Kirsten's using this as a not necessarily like the go-to plan, but it's there should things get a bit desperate.
Yeah, can you just roll me a d6, just a straight up and down 1d6 roll?
5.
Okay, you will have five doses of this Black
wow,
Lotus to use. Little fortune roll. And yes, that is there as an option.
Okay.
If you decide to go that way. With that, are we ready to party?
I think so.
Amazing. Then I will find my page of my beautiful book without the engagement roll, and we will make our engagement roll, which will tell us what position you are all in at the start of the score. So, we always start with 1d6 for luck. Is this operation particularly bold or daring? I don't think so. Is it overly complex or contingent on many factors? No. Does the plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target? I would say yes, because you've snuck in as a security guard, so there is a vulnerability there. Is the target strongest against this approach? Do they have particular defenses or special preparations? Also yes, because they've hired lots of extra security. Can your friends or contacts provide aid or insight? Yes, they have. Enemies or rivals interfering in the operation? Not that you know of. Any other elements you wish to consider? No, I think that's good. You've got 2d6 for this engagement roll. Let's see what we get. A 6! You are going to start this in a controlled position. So, we will begin. But first, how are you all dressed?
I think Arlo will have first put on the mask that was provided by his good friend and better artist, he will admit, Bootleg, and he'll put it on and then kind of dress around this mask. So he'll wear like similar black kind of velvety shirt and very long black I'd say like trousers, but then he also will put over like what do you call this, like a vest to show off his very muscular body. And
does he have one of those like bands that like barmen wear like around his bicep, and he's just like, watch this?
Yes, he will.
It's like
something like that all the security guard wear to kind of make them recognizable. So something that they all have. And I think that's what he will show up to the party dressed as or with.
Okay, amazing. I think the head of security, it's the same woman that that Bootleg met in the bar, sort of looks you up and down and is like, okay, we said dress smartly, that's a bit much, but sure. And she'll hand you that armband with Lord Strangford's symbol, which is like an S with a ship going through it, which you of course just put right round your bare bicep. She'll be like, well, I was told you were strong, so great. Come on in. And Kirsten of the Vale, what are you wearing to this party? To this shindig?
I think Kirsten has. She maybe managed to smuggle away like one of her gowns from her former life, but she keeps. So she usually wears sort of, just dark black drapes. But this is something that she's kept, maybe with a little bit of jewelry as well. I don't know if we can stretch that far, but it's almost like a long, fairly tight-fitting kind of almost like velvet gown that's flates or spreads out a lot at the bottom, and she's bedding down on the morning thing. I think she's going to this like looking very exquisite, but she's going to wear like a big sort of wide-brimmed black hat, but with an elegant black veil, sort of in the front, and with this. Maybe with the mask hidden underneath still, but it's a very smart sort of morning gown.
Beautiful. And Bootleg.
Obviously Orville Peck stuff. Then for like the first time ever, he's like clean shaven. Is wearing like a mostly kind of generic like tailcoat suit, mainly for like, tearaway sounds too sexy, but this is like for disguise purposes, like stuff that can be like thrown off and like swapped and swapped around, like ties that can turn inside out so he can look like a different person. And he's wearing but like right now it's almost like overly ostentatious to be like his alibi, like, oh yeah, I saw this guy and he was doing this, I would have noticed if he was over there stealing the stuff. So he's got his big cowboy hat on, he's wearing like not golden spurs on his shoes that like clink when he walks. Shoes shined as always. And yeah, he looks like a faux $1 million.
Incredible. And with the Orville Peck reference, I'm imagining maybe the hat is fringed, so that we've got a little bit of a mask. Okay, I like the hat-based masquerade vibes we've got. Burden 2 hats, love it. This is what you both are wearing as you
Is
make
it
your
too
way.
tacky if I say that there's fringe on his suit? Just like
tacky?
the suit comes.
Absolutely not. Of course there's fringe on his suit. I'd be offended if
Okay.
there wasn't fringe on his suit. Yes, there's
Well,
fringe on
yeah,
his
there's
suit.
fringe everywhere.
Yes, 100%. Okay, this is Severos chic, and I'm here for it. This is the beautiful, the elegance that you two are embodying as you make your way to Brightstone. All of the bricks in the buildings and the streets of Brightstone are made of a certain stone which has these veins of something quartz-like in it, which means that when the electroplasmic lamps spaced along the street light, everything seems to shimmer and gleam, reflecting the immense wealth and opulence of this part of the town. The streets are wide and they are clean, and they are not a single cracked paving stone to be seen. There is no lichen growing on the buildings. There is no shouting and screaming and running through alleyways. Everything is just so open and calm, to the point where when you're used to the hustle and bustle and the crampedness of the city, it might all just seem a little bit too open, a little bit too intimidatingly exposed for people in the line of work as yourselves. But it's pretty easy to find the Strangford estate because everyone who's anyone in Duskfall is heading there tonight, mostly in elaborate carriages. Of course, they would never approach on foot. What mode of transport do you all take?
carriage money on my luxury when I last downtime. God damn it.
Perhaps you all manage to keep to the shadows and just sneak into the crowd arriving as they leave their carriages. And do you make your way around to the service entrance as planned with Arlo?
I don't see why not.
I feel that's where we'd start, yeah, as it's prearranged.
Okay, lovely. Then I think you'll head round there, and because your engagement roll was a 6, you're starting in a very controlled position. Arlo, you have just been told about 10 minutes before to take a shift guarding the serviceman's entrance. And so there you are. Your first obstacle is not really much of one at all, and you are standing there in your beautiful bird mask and your velvet suit with biceps bulging as you recognize your mother and Bootleg approaching you from down the alleyway.
I will, of course, open the door for them right away and kind of gesture like this and make them come in as fast and as possibly unseen as they can.
Nice day for a party.
Lovely. So you all are going to head in to the Strangford estate.
Indeed.
This is probably the largest singular building any of you have ever set foot in. Now, Kirsten and Arlo, you were nobles on Scovland prior to the Unity War taking everything from you. You lived in wealth, you lived in luxury, but the absolute extent of the wealth in Duskfall is something else. This place is enormous. Everything that could be gilded is gilded. Everything that could be polished is polished. Every surface gleams, everything sparkles, everything is so beautifully lit. There are paintings which are so old they almost look like they could be from the time of the Cataclysm. There are sculptures on plinths lining the corridors. Everything is the most. And this is just the stuff that's in the side corridors. This isn't even where the party is supposed to be. And so you make your way, Arlo, you were here for security, you know where you're going, to the main part of the party, the central ballroom where the Strangfords are hosting everyone. And you enter into an absolutely enormous, glittering space. Hanging from the ceilings are chandeliers that sparkle like thousands of diamonds. There are tables against every wall just piled high with food. Fruits that you've never even seen, piled up in glass dishes. The candelabras look 10 times the size of the little ones that Bootleg found from a townhouse round the corner. There are beautiful books on shelves piled up on huge wooden bookcases. Everything is exquisite. There is room in the middle for dancing, and there is, of course, live music playing from some musicians at one end of the room. And at the far end of the ballroom, velvet curtains are being held open as though to welcome people through to see Strangford's incredible collection of artifacts. So here you all are, at this incredible masquerade ball. You have made it in. And we're going to find out what you do after a little quick break. So, all of you lovely people watching along, take a moment, stretch your legs, have some water, think about what you would wear if you were at this party, and we will see you very soon. Bye for now. Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to tonight's game of Blades in the Dark. Our crew have managed to infiltrate Lord and Lady Strangford's masquerade ball in the hopes of stealing an artifact for Kirsten's friend Rani, which she has offered to pay a high price for. Arlo has managed to get himself onto the security team and has let Kirsten and Bootleg in through the service entrance, and they've just made their way to where the party is happening. Now, before we enter and get started with the party, can I check what load you have all decided to bring with you on this score?
I'm going with an easy 3.
Okay, a light load, 3 objects.
Can I ask, is that those 5 Black Lotus sashes, does that count
I
as
will
one?
let them count as 1 load if
As
you
1
decide
load.
you've brought them, yes. But as per the rules of Blades, you don't have to say right now if you've brought them or not.
Okay.
You can, if you
Okay.
want to have them, then you will say you have them at that moment, and that will be one of your loads ticked off. But it will count
Okay.
as 1 load.
I will go for light again then.
Lovely. 3 load.
I
And
think I will do the same, just because if Arlo is dressed as a security guard, I think he cannot look heavily loaded. So
Okay.
I think he'll do the same.
All right, so you're all going light on equipment, and just going to use your skills and excellence to get you through this little scenario. I love it.
Uh-oh.
So you've just made your way into the ballroom proper. What do you all do?
I mean, I'm gonna start mingling for sure.
Agreed.
Amazing.
I think you should mingle. I think, Arlo, perhaps if you could find out where the security details are and what seems to be guarded the most, and I shall sneak around and see if I can find where these items are.
Yes, Mama, I'll do just that, and then I'll come back here and meet you.
Yes, by this strange ice thing.
We've never had something like this at our house. Do you know what that is?
Well, I believe it's a swan.
Is it now? Okay.
Yeah,
Well, anyhow.
for future reference, they tend to be classified as elegant birds.
It's
One
the
might almost say regal.
The
That
ice
too,
the
very
ice
regal.
sculpture of the swan is beautiful. Its beak is a little bit long and spoony, but apart from that, it's very beautiful and elegant.
Don't worry, ugly duckling. You'll get there someday.
And Arlo will just walk off and try to find some other security guard that he can point out Bootleg to and say, I think this guy is not invited.
All right, let's follow Bootleg first. What's your approach to mingling at this party?
I mean, just walk up to whatever group is chatting and going ha ha ha, and then he walks in and goes ha 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 ha, yes, all the time. Well, let me tell you this story, come in. And then like just subtly asking about like the relics and like what are you here for. And also, out of all this, I completely forgot, are we stealing a particular relic, all of them? One of them?
Rani didn't specify a specific artifact. She said she would pay highly for a magical nautical artifact.
Okay. Whoop.
As Kirsten knows, she trades in occult artifacts, so I imagine she thinks she could get a high price and is willing to pay you to source one for her. But she doesn't specify exactly what.
Then I think I'm definitely going for like the scholarly types, the types that are here for the relics rather than for the social aspect, I guess.
Okay, all right. So you make your way over to where a group of people holding glasses are all.
Oh,
yes.
ain't that just the way?
Oh, it is. It is. Oh, fifth servant I fired this year.
I mean, I'm already on my 7th. They're just, you can't find, they just don't know how to, act like people.
That's it. 1 minute they're waxing your floors, the next is, oh, I need more money for my medical treatments. It's just
Or it's like, I'm too injured to work today. I mean,
exactly. Am I your mother? No.
no, exactly. What do you want me to do? Wake you up in the morning, tuck you in a bed?
That's what you're meant to do for me. What am I paying you
Exactly.
for? Oh, goodness. Oh, well, Strangford's certainly done all right getting enough help for this shit and dick.
Oh, I hear he was picking people off the street almost for it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Anyone with muscles and 2 thoughts to their name? Oh,
Oh, after all of his staff are out on the streets down at the factories, am I right?
exactly. The Frankies, don't even get me started on those.
Oh, just can't keep them under control.
No.
So dreadful.
But speaking of all these guards, you think that's a bit too much for some, like, doohickeys over there?
Oh, who knows? Give me a roll. I think this could be a consort or a sway. Actually, I think
Okay.
'Cause you're pretending to be somebody else, but you are being friendly.
Yeah, does this count as a disguise that I'm in?
I'd say so.
Okay, I get to add. Whoops.
Whoa,
Ah,
whoa!
No,
Not anymore.
Okay, your disguise just fell off, so you don't get to use your ability anymore.
well, that one didn't count because it fell on the floor anyway. That was my disguise dice.
This is great.
Oh no, a 3.
A 3, was that with your ability? I will let you use it. I was
Okay,
just harassing
ability.
you.
Well, I got a 1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay. Well, luckily you're in a controlled position, so you're not going to get a big consequence from this. It's just not going to go super well. So I think that this woman that you've picked, she seemed like somebody who might be quite scholarly, but she's either not or she's already had fair few drinks.
Yeah.
Because when you ask about the artifacts, because who cares about a bunch of old wet rocks? It's truly pathetic. He thinks we care about them. Oh, but bless him. He's ever so excited. I'm just here for the booze.
Exactly. Any excuse to throw a party for Mr. Lordy over here. Think
Oh,
it's so important.
absolutely. He just wants to show off his shiny floor. I get it. Your maid hasn't started whinging about her knees. Ooh.
Exactly. Well, I'm off to see, what is it called again? That swan over there? I heard the sculptor that made it, he paid more for the one swan than he did for all the security in general, you know? That's why he's picking people up off the streets.
Oh, you are funny. Yes. No, they do all look utterly useless, don't they?
Exactly.
And
It's
the
just gonna melt at the
fashion
end of the
sense
day.
on them. Truly abysmal. She sort of indicates towards Arlo.
Yeah. I
Arlo is
mean,
just catching strays left and right.
Leave my boy alone.
Oh, my glass is empty. Waiter! And she's going to stroll away from you.
shit.
While you kind of try to decide what to do next, let's hop over to poor Arlo, catching strays. How are you trying to find out more about the security?
I
As you've been
think
tasked to.
the first thing that he does is, of course, he goes back to the door he was assigned to guard, but then he'll realize that he's not actually here to work. So he will then kind of find other security guards to talk to and be like, hey, I'm new and I don't know, I just kind of want to catch like the general vibe. Like, are we all actually working, or is this just a means to go to a fancy party and sneak off to drink? Do you understand what I mean?
Roll me a consort.
Do I even have that? No. You know, I rolled a 6 and a 4.
Okay, so was that a 0 dice roll?
Yeah.
It was a 0 dice roll, so I rolled 2 die.
Okay. You
And
take the lower.
the low one is a
You
4.
still did better
Okay.
than
Oh,
me
cool.
rolling 3 in my consort.
Okay, so you have some success here, but there's a consequence. So, yeah, I think that the person you talk to kind of looks very serious for a moment, and then just out of their pocket pulls out a bunch of sausage rolls, and is like, "Eh, eh."
Arlo will take one.
Oh, the flakes!
And just like chew on it like
Oh,
and
yeah.
then I think he'll ask, so how many of us are posted here, and do you know of any areas that are not well guarded that I can kind of sneak off to have a smoke?
I mean, there's a lot of us. I didn't even manage to count them all, but there's a lot. Unguarded places. I mean, all of the entrances are obviously guarded, apart from I think the guy who's meant to be on the service entrance is gone somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw him walking around over there somewhere. Yeah, I think he's also first time on the job.
Yeah, I think the upper floors aren't like super guarded. It's just bedrooms and stuff. But you know what's weird is that like half of the guards were sent downstairs, and the party is not downstairs. There's not meant to be anything down there. That's what's really weird.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
really weird. And so why were we not sent down? Is this like some, like some kind of discriminatory thing, like because we're new or because I'm new? Or I don't know how long you've been here.
I think maybe like I was just hired this week because like my cousin works here like all the time. So like I guess I need extra hands. So my cousin's down there, but I think they put like the newbies up here.
Ah, I see. All right. Well, I guess that's just the way it is. And he'll take one of the sausage rolls and then kind of walk off again and try to find his mother to pass on the information.
I think that because you rolled a 4, so you're still controlled, but you get a minor consequence, and that is that head of security woman breezes past again, and she sees you and is like, door, guard, door.
Yes, of course. I'm sorry, I got lost, and I wanted to go to the toilet, did not find it because there are so many people. So,
okay, top tip for not losing your post: stay there.
But what if I have to pee?
I'm not paying you to pee.
Yeah, that's technically correct. Okay, well, I'll go back, and then he'll walk back to his post.
You do what you are told, or you are dismissed.
Yeah, he'll go back.
And she'll storm off. So essentially, your consequence is you're starting to get to the point where if you keep wandering around, it might start to arouse suspicion. But so far, she just thinks that you're being lazy. So as you go back to make a show of being at that door, let's hop over to Kirsten, who's doing a bit of sneaking around, I believe. What are you up to?
Yeah, hear me out. I'm going to try and sort of prowl in open sight.
Okay.
So I figure that Kirsten, she's kind of left her past behind her, but she very much remembers, how to be noble and regal. So she can stand and look the part, but her get-up is very much like a shield. So the mourning attire and the veil is, kind of keeping people at bay. And I think she wants to sort of be aloof, be on the fringes, try and stay out of the crowds, try and stay out of any kind of conversations, look like she belongs there, and allow that to gradually move her into the shadows and away from the action. And the first thing she'd like to do is just check out this main party area, because we were told that some of the artifacts are actually going to be kind of like in view, right? And so to first of all just kind of see if she can kind of like get near to any of these and see what they are. And
okay, yeah, I think you don't need to roll to do that, because as you correctly pointed out, sort of at the far end of where you entered, the far end of the ballroom, there are these curtains leading into another area, which you get the impression maybe that's the display of the artifacts. And there are maybe, let's say there are 1 or 2 kind of near on this side of the entryway, if you liked to be seen. So you can make your way over there and have a little look. Just make a show of kind of being a guest who's kind of sort of looking around. And you'll see there's some kind of you don't have much experience, if any, with sort of nautical things, do you? So you maybe wouldn't know even what you're looking at exactly. I think there's an anchor from a Leviathan hunter ship. It's just an anchor. It doesn't look particularly interesting to you. There's maybe some odd plants, kind of strange slimy plants preserved in some tall glass vases of liquid. There is a sort of very disintegrated, almost wooden sculpture of a woman, which there's a little card saying that it's a figurehead from a sunken vessel, part of a figurehead that's been recovered from the depths. So that's kind of what you see on this side, and then there's this big archway with velvet curtains that have been pulled back, which kind of you can see leads into another space where there are more artifacts on display and a few people inside kind of milling around and looking.
Okay, so Kirsten's assumption is that whilst these may be of interest, if they're up in the main party and vulnerable slightly, I know there is a sort of a security force here, but she's thinking that whatever the really special stuff must be downstairs where these, we learnt that there's a lot of guards in the basement. And my ability to see into the spirit world doesn't really allow me to see whether any of these items are sort of magical in any way.
I think potentially we could say that if you want to try a tuning, it may be that you could see if there's some kind of signature, if they look interesting or different in the ghost field that might indicate they have some kind of power.
Yeah, I think
probably
she would. This
tune.
a vague, this is like just a general kind of look across the whole, maybe even through the archway into that other room, because her assumption is that the really good stuff is downstairs, but she wants to just sort of check.
Okay. Yeah, roll me in a tune.
Okay.
We're still controlled at the moment.
5.
Okay, 5. So I think that you do what you always do when you attune, which is that you outwardly become quite still and quiet, and inwardly feel that discomfort associated with shifting into that ghost space. And as that kind of vision shifts, everything looks a bit the same, but a bit different. You see shadows of workers from earlier in the day and the week scurrying around, moving things and putting things places. And you see various different artifacts and boxes being brought up and put down, and you see these echoes of things which have been happening. But what you don't see is anything indicating that anything here is of particular spiritual or occult value. As you suspected, these are either things which are just kind of interesting but not magical, or they are replicas of the real stuff.
Okay.
In any case, it's nothing which you think Rani would have any interest in purchasing from you is up here.
Yeah, as you say, this is exactly what Kirsten suspected. So I think this is where she wants to go into deep prowl now and get downstairs. But I think she would like to go via Bootleg first because she doesn't want to leave him out on a limb. She wants to let him know where she's going.
All right, Bootleg, what are you up to as Kirsten starts to make her way back towards you?
I mean, I already heard that there was guards. Well, one guard at the basement, at least. And I did promise I'd give him some food if I was here, so I was gonna get a tray of little appetizers and saunter my little behind all over there.
Okay, I think as you're over at one of the buffet tables scooping up a plate of food, a gentleman wearing just far too much crushed velvet, it's silly, is doing the same thing and is like, oh, you come to these things for the food too, I see.
What else is there? Some fancy ship stuff? No, thank you. Leave that to the
Ah.
sailors and the fishmongers, I say.
Oh, man after my own heart. Oh, I tell you, I was trying to find out how on earth he got away with the disturbance that had the spirit wardens coming to his factory. It's the only
Well,
reason
you
I'm
know
here.
the spirit wardens, they jump up a lot at anything that's, a little inky.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yes, they've come around my place for absolutely no reason whatsoever, more than once.
Exactly. You could sneeze and the spirit wardens are there. Pagan
Absolutely.
spirit activity, otherworld nonsense.
Absolutely. Load of gibberish, although if I could figure out how he's getting that factory working with no staff, I could be a... Well, I was going to say I could be a rich man. A richer man!
Well, if you want to figure that one out, you gotta go for his security, I hear he's hiring those bill hooks, Absolute bunch of
Well done.
ragamuffins. So, he's certainly saving money on them.
He sort of stops laughing. Is like, did you say Strangford is hiring gang members for security?
That's what the word on the street is.
Well, I just have to send a telegram. And he kind of...
Hey, there's
bustles
plenty
away.
important people at this party.
He's gonna bustle away. You don't know who that man was, but he seemed very interested in that information you just shared.
Yep.
Naughty bootleg.
Hey, there's gonna be some commotion at the party.
We love it.
Yeah, let's say that Kirsten off of Vale, you have caught up with Bootleg.
Howdy.
Bootleg.
How's the search going?
Nothing up here is of any value.
Yeah, including the airheads. I've been chatting up a few, and they don't know nothing except the food in front of their face and the wine in their bellies.
Well, welcome to the upper classes.
Exactly. But I heard there was people at the basement.
There is. I believe that's where we're going to have more luck. I'm wondering if we can perhaps get Arlo to go down and tell the guards that, he's swapping a shift with one of them, and perhaps that could buy us the distraction we need to sneak down there.
Yeah, bring some food down too. As far as I know, those guards aren't getting any of the fancy party stuff up here.
I
Be a
ate a
nice
couple of
way
days
to
ago.
ease the process.
Oh, for them, yes, that's a very good idea.
Exactly.
Lovely. So are you going to ask Arlo to go down first?
Yes, indeedy.
Okay. Arlo, I think the other two maybe catch up with you, task you with leading the way downstairs. I think that you've probably been shown roughly the lay of the land when you arrived and kind of had your initiation before the party began. So you know roughly where the main staircase down to the lower reaches of the house are. But of course, if you're going to be abandoning your post again, you will now be in a risky position because you don't want to get caught sneaking around somewhere you're not meant to be. So what do you do? Tell me what you do as you try and find out, scout ahead for everyone.
So I was thinking, you can tell me if this is like not doable, but I was thinking that maybe as one part of my load, I could carry the self-made DIY carton mask that I made for me and my mother and switch it out with the mask that Bootleg gave me in order to not be recognized as easily.
You can absolutely swap masks. Yes.
Okay.
That's just the truth. But yes, you can mark something random on your, subterfuge supplies, whatever. That's your new mask. So you brought this shitty mask. I'm sorry. Challenged mask with you to the party. And you're going to try and use that to sneak away from your post without people noticing you're the same person.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's... I'm going to say that's a prowl, I think.
Okay, I also have 0 dots in this, so...
Okay, I will give you increased effect on this because you've put a little bit of a disguise on. But yeah, a risky prowl.
So that means I just
Arlo,
roll...
you want to switch up who's the guard then? I disguise as the guard because I can take the armband. Or are you disguising as a different guard?
Oh, that is... I did not even think about that, but like... I can see why we took you onto the team.
Yeah. Well,
Here.
you guys took me onto your team, sure.
I think he'll start pulling down this arm strap and pass it on to you. It's obviously 2 sizes too big,
Yeah.
but yeah, he will switch roles with you and put on this self-made mask. So
Okay, do you want to spend a stress then, bootleg, to assist your teammate here?
Yeah, and then I'll put on a different disguise. I'll rip off all my lace and fringe. I'll switch out my hats.
No.
Got a bowler hat. Put on a mask. You know?
Incredible!
I love it.
I'm completely
Inspiration die.
You all offending me with the fact I didn't tell you there was going to be a masquerade ball before we started the call, and you all just had all this stuff ready to go. I love it. I love it so much.
Always.
So Arlo, you can have an extra die to your roll.
All right.
Bootleg spent a stress to help you out with this quick costume change.
So 2 die.
Amazing,
and
guys.
do I pick the higher number that I roll now, or how does it work?
Yes, you pick the highest number.
Well, thank you, bootleg. That's a 2.
You roll a 1 and a 2?
Yes.
Oh wait, did you roll? You rolled because you had 0 dots.
I had 0 dots, so I would have.
Sorry, you should have just rolled one die and taken a straight up and down roll. So
Well, then you can decide out of the 1 and the 2 I rolled which one I get.
I was giving you a chance to re-roll, but all right, we'll let the results stand.
No,
Oh, well, let's have the 1 then.
Either way. Let's go with the 1. This fails. Why does this go wrong? So many reasons. You start to make your way towards the staircase down to the lower levels, wearing this different mask and thinking, I look completely different. I wearing a velvet 2-piece suit with a waistcoat and my biceps out.
This is
No one will know it's
essentially
me.
like Laurel and Hardy in just doing a disguise act.
And you make your way over, and I think that straight up you get there, and there are 2 guards standing at the top of the staircase who are just like, no, you can't come down here. What are you wearing? What is this? While they're standing just kind of being like, what is this, the head of security comes by again. She always seems to be circling by just at the wrong moment for you, Arlo. And she is like, are you kidding me? Did you just get this job so that you could try and sneak into the party?
No, I did not.
Oh my god, it was you who stole all the sausage rolls, wasn't it? Turn out your pockets.
There's pastry crumbs on Arlo's shirt.
He empties out all of his pockets, the velvety jacket pockets, and there's a bunch of sausage rolls inside.
There is, because Bootleg told you to bring food. And she is she's livid. She is, okay, you're fired. Get out of the building right now.
I'll escort him to the exit immediately.
Sorry, who are you?
I'm now wearing the guard armband and everything that Arlo had.
But as a bandana.
Roll me it could be a commander, it could be a sway.
Sway, please. Please be a 4.
Hey,
we're not getting very high today.
Well, that's a 4 is you do it with a consequence. So I think she's going to be like, did you change your outfit? I don't remember you from earlier.
You've hired me just yesterday.
Oh god, right, yeah, no, it's been stressful. Okay, look, just
Do you not remember our interview? We shared such laughs.
No. What's your name?
Higginsby. William Higginsby.
I really feel like I'd remember a Higginsby. It's been a really long week, actually. So yeah, Higginsby, if you could just take this guy.
Oh, absolutely.
Out of the serviceman's entrance, please. We don't want a scene.
Of course.
And yeah, if you could just do that. and you know what? I'm just gonna stay here, actually,
You
because
might actually not want to stay here. What I've been hearing up from the socialite upstairs, they're spreading nasty rumors about the dear lord and his proclivities for hiring.
doesn't sound like a me problem. I'm not a reputation bodyguard.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stay here, thanks. So that's with your 4. She is going to now position herself at the top of the stairs leading into the basement, while you take Arlo away.
Michelle,
Yes.
with all of that going on, would there be any chance that I could perhaps try to have snuck down during the whole?
Oh, that's spicy. I love it. Give me a prowl.
Okay.
And I'm gonna, because I love this, I'm gonna give you increased effect because you're taking advantage of what's going on.
Ooh, that's another dice?
So it's still risky, same number of dice,
Yeah.
but it's kind of your outcome will be a bit better than it would be without it.
Okay, cool.
Put it simply.
Arlo, dear, could you blow on my dice for me?
Mhm.
Thank you.
ASMR.
That's a 5.
A 5. Okay, and with your increased effect, I am going to treat that as if it was a 6. I'm going to push you up 1 level. So yes, this is all going on. The Chronicles of William Higginsby are taking place at the top of the stairs, and I think that pretty effortlessly, Kirsten of the Vale, despite the attention-grabbing, stunning hat, is able to just slip quietly past and down the stairs. So as your 2 compatriots make their way to the door, let's follow you down this staircase. It's not very well lit down here because there's not really supposed to be anyone down here. There are not any security exactly in this hallway you find yourself in because they're posted at the top of the stairs. So for the moment, you have the place to yourself. And there are, how do I describe it? A sort of a junction. There are 3 different ways you could go now that you're at the bottom of the staircase. You can see that there are, you can hear rather, that there are some people moving around in one direction. You can hear that there are some voices in another direction, and straight ahead, it's dark. You don't really see or hear anything in particular. What would you like to do?
Ooh. I think what she doesn't want to do is attune again just yet. Her skin is still burning slightly from previous.
Okay.
I think she's going to head towards the moving around
Okay.
rather than the voices.
All right. So you make your way down the corridor towards the sound of moving. You're in the darkness. But as you get close to a doorway, you see light spilling out from underneath it. There are some people in a room. This is where the noise is coming from. The door is, it's not open, but it's sort of ajar, as if someone's gone in and hasn't properly shut it behind them.
First, I'd like to see if I could peek through a keyhole or maybe even get right down and look under the crack of the door. I want to see if I can see into the room before I touch the door.
Okay, what's this going to be? I think this is a prowl roll again to move around undetected.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm?
Yeah, that's a 1 or a 2.
Okay, so in a risky position, that does not work, and there is a consequence. So I think that you go to sort of see if you can peek maybe through the gap or through the keyhole. But when you touch the door even slightly, it hasn't been oiled, this hinge, and it just incredibly loudly creaks. And somebody wearing that security armband opens the door and says, "Who are you?" And we'll jump upstairs to Arlo and Higginsby.
Yes.
So you...
I think Arlo would like to turn as we walk away, as I'm being guided back to my post or outside of from my post. I'll turn to now Higginsby and go, so at some point you're going to have to tell me how you come up with all these fake names and personalities. I hate to admit, but I kind of want to learn how you do that.
It's improv, my dear Arlo.
And how do I do that?
Well, first you gotta go with the flow. But right now, what we need is probably a distraction.
All right. Do you really need to use that voice with me though? Because now we're far away from that lady, so I think you can talk in your normal voice again.
I'm a method actor, Arlo.
I expect millions.
All right. So, what kind of distraction are we talking about here? What should I do? What can I do?
I don't know. You're trying to get kicked out, so you might as well make a scene on the way. Try and bring as many guards as you can with you. Maybe steal one of the fake artifacts upstairs and do a runner.
That sounds like a plan, and hopefully without any bad consequences. Should I just make a run for it?
Or you could use a disguise if you're confident in that.
I think it's too late for that now. And I think Arlo will kind of turn away from you, give you maybe one last nod, and then make a run for one of the artifacts and start yelling something along the lines, well, now that I've been fired, I at least get my pay like this. And then he'll, I don't know, maybe jump for the anchor and try to cause a big scene so that...
Good heavens, somebody get him! And I take off my card armband so it looks like I'm not supposed to be getting him.
This all happened so fast. Okay, I love it. Deeply in love with this insane plan. I think this... I could think this could be an argument this is a wreck, in that you are wrecking this party by making a lot of noise and chaos. So we can go that route if you want to roll a wreck for this move.
I do want to roll a wreck for this move. I also have this ability not to be trifled with, where I can push myself to do a feat of extreme physical force or something that is kind
You
of
jump out the window.
Yeah, so I would kind of like to grab one of the artifacts and then like push through all of the crowd that stands in my way and possibly jump out of a window or maybe knock down a door or something like this.
Okay, let's roll to see how you do in grabbing this artifact. And we'll go from there. So let's.
Okay.
So if you want to push yourself, I'm trying to think
take-
how to resolve this. If you want to take 2 stress to push yourself, then do the wreck, and that could be for just physically forcing your way through the crowd, through the ballroom to where it is. And then we'll see what the dice result is, whether you manage to get out the window with it.
It's a 2. I don't think I've rolled better than a 2 today.
Oh dear.
Can I push myself or help Arlo in some way?
Not now that the result has been said.
Okay.
Remember, Arlo, you always have the option to resist a consequence you dislike, or you can spend armor to ignore a consequence you dislike. I think the consequence of this roll, being a 2, is that you will successfully get yourself through the crowd. You're going to grab, I think, that figurehead, that wooden carved lady. You're going to grab it, and then as you try to run to a window, about 4 security guards just all tackle you at once and slam you onto the ground. And you're going to take a level 1 harm from being knocked down.
And I think as I'm being knocked down, I will say something along the lines of, well, now that I got it, you definitely shouldn't throw me in the basement, or something like that.
Incredible. Bootleg, do you want to do anything in response to what you're seeing go on here? Or are you going to stay out of it?
I'm gonna go back, slip on my armband again, and go back to the head of the guard at the basement and be like, he pulled a runner! He's got one of the artifacts! Help!
What?
The big one!
Roll me a... Well, what you're saying is true, actually. So roll me a command.
Shit. I got nothing in command, but I'm still using a disguise, So
This is true. This is true. You can use your disguise
so
ability.
I'll just roll 1 dice for that then.
Okay.
Can I push myself then to get 2?
You can. You can spend 2 stress to do that.
That's 2 stress. Perfecto. Okay. Come on, big money. Arlo, can you blow my dice too, please? I thought you were gonna spit like.
I love how you're relying on Arlo, who's had terrible dice luck, to imbue your... Maybe that's why you're imbuing everyone else's dice.
That's a 4.
A 4.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're trying to send her away.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna keep it simple. She goes, "What?" And she just barges past you and sends you flying into the wall, and you're also going to take a level 1 harm from your shoulder being bashed into the wall.
Okay, can I spend an armor on that then?
You can, absolutely. You were wearing shoulder pads in your fantastic outfit.
Yeah, these are padded shoulders. They go up to here to make me look taller and broader, obviously.
Like an 80s fringe
Yeah, it's like
cowboy jacket.
Sue Ellen.
Yeah.
Incredible.
With fringe, remember. Well, the fringe isn't there. I tore it off to my Higginsby
Yes.
disguise, because Higginsby would never wear fringe.
Of course. You took off the cowboy hat to reveal the bowler underneath, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, you're not injured, but you do send the head of security charging towards Arlo. Leaving with the other 2 security guards will tail her as well. Leaving the staircase temporarily unguarded. And with your other compatriot just with a bunch of security guards piled on top of him.
Sorry, Arlo, good luck. I'm gonna go into the basement, I think.
Okay. Arlo will leave you in that precarious situation and will hop back down the stairs to where Kirsten of the Vale has been caught. And I think that as that happens, the door opens. He says, "Who are you?" And then he hears, you both hear, some sort of cacophonous yelling from down the hallway. And he'll turn towards the source of the noise, which will give you a moment to do something, if you'd like.
Well, I'd like a flashback, Michelle.
Ooh, tell me what flashback you'd like.
I'd like to be back in Master Slane's office. I'm looking for, so I think I'll extend that last statement that he mentioned about, how do you know? And I would have picked up and run with that conversation a little bit more. This factory is like a beacon for those with my sight. And there are ways in which you can dampen the effects, and I suggest that perhaps you should, and I'll be kind of almost leading him to, like, his the kind of the window that looks over the big factory floor, and I'll be explaining that, it's what he's up to is not as hidden perhaps as he might think, and what I would like to do while his attention is on the factory floor is scan the desk for anything, either headed notepaper of Lord Strangford's, a wax and seal, or even Strangford's signature, something like that, where I could use to fabricate a document.
Okay. Yes. I think that it would be 2 stress for this.
Okay. Yep.
To say that you see on the desk some letter or some instructions, something, an invoice that's been signed by Strangford and stamped with that same insignia, which was on the security guards, that letter S with the ship through it. And you managed to palm that, and for 2 stress, you've maybe made a copy of something with that same seal stamped on it. What is this document?
So I think it's a document with anything that officializes it as Strangford. So I've forged the signature or put the seal on. And it qualifies me as, I don't really know how to word this, but some sort of, arcane practitioner who is here to ensure that the artifact remains safe. And I will say, who am I? If you want your insides to remain on the inside, you'll let me inspect that artifact because it is unstable.
I think that he sees that, and he hears
This
the noise.
sounds far more pressing.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I thought all of the special guests had been allowed in. Of course. Just before you go into the room, I think you might see what looks suspiciously like Bootleg in a new outfit appearing at the stairwell end of the corridor.
Good heavens, you walk fast. Sorry, my dear chap. I'm escorting this lady into the premises here. You know, it's been so hectic upstairs. Someone apparently stole all the sausage rolls.
And I know the name that he's used because I was sneaking past when he said it. So, Higginsby. Finally.
Sorry about that.
I love it too much to question it. I'm going to allow it on the strength of your imposingness and Higginsby's terrific disguise. He will say, "Yeah, sorry. Go on ahead. Go on ahead."
Where's Arlo?
Currently underneath some guards, but if I know Arlo like I think I do, I think he'll be on top in no time, old chap.
Let's hop up and check on Arlo. Hello, Arlo. A lot of security guards have tackled you, and there are more running at you. The party, the musicians have done that thing where they're playing a beautiful tune and they all make a discordant sound at once as they all turn to look. And the party are very much paying attention to the chap holding the disintegrated figurehead who's been tackled to the ground. What's your play here?
That's a good question.
It's like scratch freeze frame on Arlo. I guess you're wondering how I got here.
Yeah.
That's me.
So I'm gonna ask you, Michelle.
Mm.
Would Arlo know if something like this happens or was about to happen at the party? Were there any instructions for the security guards how to intervene and what to do with people that cause such a ruckus? Or like, would he know what would happen to him? Would he just be
Kill
thrown
on
out?
sight.
Or would he be struck down and like messed up completely? Or would he be thrown to jail? What would happen to him? What would he assume?
Great question. That's a zero stress flashback. That's a free flashback. We're going to have you being walked around with the other newbie guards by this still as yet unnamed head of security woman. She doesn't get a name, bless her. She's having a very stressful week. And she says, now obviously we're not expecting any trouble because these are very like high wealthy people, but if somebody does start causing any kind of issue, tries to steal anything, be discreet, do not draw attention to what's going on in the slightest. We will escort somebody into one of the downstairs rooms, we will lock them inside, and we will call the Bluecoats.
Okay, so if he knows that, I think he'll try to at least defend himself a little bit from the guards and like throw a fist, maybe kick a foot out, but then at some point he will kind of let like his body go limp and hope that they will carry him somewhere where he can try to escape.
Okay. Then I think if you're going to just go along with what they do, you don't need to roll for that. I think that that chief security guard is about to sort of start talking to you when just an unstoppably elegant woman. She's just dripping with jewels. She's wearing this fine satiny gown. Her hair's up in this absurd, almost impossible hairstyle. And you get the impression this must be the Lady Strangford. She steps in front of the chief of security and says, I am ever so disappointed in you. I thought I could expect better. You've just been hiring riffraff off the streets. Get this man locked up downstairs, and don't allow any more disruptions to my evening. And she'll kind of, with a bejeweled hand, just covered in rings, just kind of flutter you away. And then turn to her guests and, well, it wouldn't be a party without the entertainment, would it? And kind of, everyone giggles and goes back to their party. The music strikes back up. As you, Arlo, are brought down, not that main staircase, but some side stairwell that's used by the servants, and shoved into, you guess, maybe some kind of laundry room. There's clothes and sheets hung up around the place, and the door slams and you hear a click in the lock. Meanwhile, your mother and your dear friend of many names and faces have made their way into a different room. This room is well lit. It has a few more security guards just kind of standing, looking a little bit, not idle, they're on duty, but just staring forwards, not looking particularly engaged. And there is a group of those wealthy, well-dressed partygoers who don't seem quite as drunk and merry, but rather are kind of studiously and with interest looking at some bottles with strange soggy plants and some kind of anchor and other things, what we would recognize as dead coral, what looks like some kind of enormous blackened heart, also preserved in some sort of perspex. There are documents water damaged but still intact. There are pieces of wood or pieces of metal maybe lost off of other vessels. There are the skeletons of strange sea creatures. This room is just full of intriguing artifacts, and they look very similar to the artifacts that were upstairs. But these ones are not out on display. They are all carefully kept in this guarded room.
Would it be fair to say that the upstairs ones are almost direct replicas of each of these?
I think it would be fair to say that, yes.
Okay.
So these still would have been shown in the paper, just not the like magic-y versions.
Yeah.
They're keeping the real ones hidden, the fake ones on display.
Mm-hmm.
How many people are in this room, roughly?
I'm gonna say there are 4 guards, as well as the one on the door, so 5. And there are 6 guests sort of looking around. So 10, 11 people.
Okay, so while momentarily we've managed to be in this sort of whispering mode, I might pass a small leather satchel to Higginsby. If you can put this in the guard's water, offer them refreshments while I pretend to work. Do not get it on your fingers.
That sounds ominous.
I'll pass him the black orchid, not orchid.
Black Lotus.
Black Lotus.
Okay. Let's resolve that then. Let's see. How do you try, Bootleg, to distribute this poison to the guards?
So skin contact? How is this?
So I suggested to you that you should put it into their drinks, like
Yeah.
if they're going to go, but just don't get it on your own hands because it's not the safest to work with.
Yeah, it says it's a tar-like resin. Perhaps we could say that skin contact is enough.
Okay, yeah.
I'll allow that. But it would be, again, it would not leave no trace. It is a resin. It is a sticky substance.
Okay. Then.
So maybe on the hilts of their weapons.
Ooh.
Yeah, but how do we get them all together? I can't just be like, hello.
Well, I figured what Kirsten would do is she's come here under the guise of ensuring the safety of the artifacts.
Yeah.
She's going to place this document fairly prominently, just on it. She's not discard it, but slide it onto one of the tables, move forward, and try to sort of, against her normal. She's not very showy, but try and take center stage to allow Bootleg some room to move. And I will do an attune, and I will try and get a scope of these things whilst Bootleg's doing what Bootleg does.
Okay, and you're not trying to hide that you're attuning. You're sort of using the fact that you're here under this guise to allow you to look at things.
Yeah, I think, and I might even say to the guards, like I want you to stand back, you know, ensure that everything is safe, keep doing your job, but, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Couple paces, boys.
Lovely. Let's roll that attune then.
That's a 6.
Okay, beautiful. You attune to the ghost field, and you don't see echoes of people running around and moving things. You get the sense that maybe this is where these things are generally kept, and they've just been moved out of their containers to be visible. You can see that some of these objects are just objects. They're interesting, but some do have some signatures. By far, the most powerful artifact in this room is that enormous blackened heart. It is about 2 feet long. It is enormous. Probably a little too large to subtly sneak into a pocket. However, there are other things in this room of interest. That strange ghostly white fossilized plant, which, as I said, we would recognize as coral, has a glow to it, a signature of something not entirely of the normal world. There is also in one of the ledgers, you get a sense of ghostly echoes of many people studying strange things within this tome. So maybe some of the records written in there have interesting notes within. I'd say those are the 2 objects beyond the heart that really catch your attention, the coral and one of the books.
What would be the easiest to transport? What's the smallest of those? Is the coral large? Or...
The coral is probably the smallest, although it's a strange shape and very obvious. The book is a book, but it's like a big ledger.
I think Kirsten's interested in the coral then. She'd love that heart, but I think it's too big for us to get out.
So, this is where we find ourselves, at the Strangford Masquerade Ball, with a fake artifact upstairs being knocked to the ground by a chaotic Arlo, who was then dragged off and locked in a room somewhere, all by himself, while his associates find themselves in a different room on the same floor of the house, surrounded by valuable artifacts, but also surrounded by guards, which maybe that poison might do something to help with. But you'll just have to come back next week and find out. Because that is where we are going to leave it for the adventures of the Many-Hatted Friends, the new crew name in Duskfall tonight. Thank you all so much for joining us here on EUphoria for this game. I have had so much fun with you 3. I wish I could just sit and let you just keep improving for the entire session with absolutely nothing happening in the game, because you're hilarious and I love it so much. Let's all go around one more time and remind us all who you are and where our lovely audience can find you if they want to see more of your work. Let's start with Gask.
Hello, my name is Gaskinator and I use she, her pronouns. I have been your bootleg tonight. If there's been other hats just outside of frame, you'll never know. You'll just have to wait till next week to find out. Or if not, maybe we'll see. I'll find an excuse to wear them, I swear. If you want to find me, there's probably links if I gave links. If not, then you're shit out of luck, I guess. You're just gonna have to, like, ask someone, I guess. Hey, do you know that gas person? And they're gonna be like, no, she died 50 years ago. And I think that's how it's gonna go.
Amazing, mysterious and confusing. We love it. Sakaya.
Hello everyone, I am Sakaya, I go by she, her pronouns, and I have been Kirsten of the Vale, the Whisper, and that's my magical cat that always knows when I've finished a stream. Where can you find me? You can find me on the transmissions. We have a Twitch channel and a podcast. Our Blood and Lyrium Dragon Age Part 2 will be starting up I think we're about a month into it. And season 3 is in preparation for our podcast. So yeah, join us there.
Exciting stuff. Do check out the transmissions. Highly recommend. And Cash.
Hello, everyone. I'm Cash. I have been Cash, and I have also played General Arlo, who was very sneaky and very unsuccessful in sneaking today. And if you want to find me on the internet, you have to look very hard. And if you look hard enough, you can find me on most social medias called Alias Casalia, if I remember correctly. I don't use social media much, but maybe
Cash,
I will be.
they died 60 years ago.
Exactly.
Kirsten will be able to find both of them for you. It's fine.
She will attune to where you're hiding. And I have been Michelle Kelly. I'm an actor, a singer, voice actor, and your humble GM for this game of Blades in the Dark. You can find me at Michellecopter on the socials, where I try my best to post when I'm going to be popping up on streams here, there, and everywhere. So give me a follow. But more importantly than that, give EUphoria a follow on the socials, which are linked below. Follow on Twitch. Follow on YouTube and join the Patreon, where you can see exciting behind the scenes things like the incredible character playlists, which are just full of vibes, soundtracks from obscure children's movies, anything you could hope for, and many things you could not even possibly expect. Make sure to keep up with everything EUphoria is doing to highlight the brilliance, the excellence, and the diversity of TTRPG magic going on in Europe and the UK. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next week to find out how the rest of this party goes. Bye, everyone!
Bye!